Hey everyone, welcome to Buzzing About Romance. I am Becky.
And I am Leah.
And joining us for this episode are podcast contributors Jenni and Lindsey. Hi friends.
Hello.
Okay,
this is like perfect unison.
They did, right? This episode I would like to dedicate to Jenni. This is her passion, and she made it Lindsey's passion. And for them, we do this episode. But there's other people in our community that we're doing this episode for too.
It's true. It is true. But Jenni has the extreme love of this place we're going to be talking about.
Yeah, it's a little
obsessive.
I will say, I think, Jenni, you were wearing a Knitting in the City Heroines, the Heroes shirt the first time at I came to Drunk Book Club and was like, oh, I'm going to like her. First impression, right off the bat, I was like, oh, I like her taste in books.
I have my...
the Morel support. I want that t-shirt. Those ladies.
You want them to have their own book.
I just love them. I need character cards for those ladies. They're a hoot.
We should email Brooke and be like, hey, these are the groups of people we want just novellas for. Right. Can you make this happen?
Could you make this happen? So on this episode of Buzzing About Romance, we are going to talk about the world of Green Valley, Tennessee. We are joined by Jenni and Lindsey, who are both big Penny Reid fans, but also love the other books written within this world. Jenni and Lindsey are some of our podcast authorities on the world of Green Valley. So, Jenni, we are going to kind of hand the reins over to you because Leah and I are not as well versed in this world as you are. So it's you and Lindsey. Take it away. Tell us where we're going with this discussion.
Okay, so for those that don't know, Green Valley, Tennessee was first introduced by Penny Reid in her Winston Brothers series, which just got a TV deal.
Yeah, big, huge TV deal.
Yeah, that should be interesting to see. I'm a little nervous about that.
As one should be.
Like true book lovers understand.
Yes.
And I know, Becky, you were a fan of the Knitting in the City series. So like it's tied in. There's the crossover with Beauty and the Mustache, which Ashley is the sister of the 6 Winston brothers.
So
technically speaking, Green Valley is a spin-off. Like
technically, yes.
Is a spin-off of Knitting in the City.
So
with Penny's books, you'll always find those little Easter eggs.
And Ashley, her book takes place in Chicago, but she does talk about her hometown and her brothers in that book.
Correct. And it's an older book, so like she ends up moving back to Green Valley.
So
and her hero has like a really intricate part of like the Winston family. So but
Beauty and the Mustache released August 2014. Lindsey, you are also a fan of Knitting in the City.
Very much. I'm also a knitter, and a crocheter. I do both. So I really loved that book. I actually, when I read that series, I didn't know that you could make friends with knitting groups. So I was like, if these girls did it, I'm going to do it. And I actually made one of my really good friends that way.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's really cool. So it was like, it impacted my life like well beyond the book. So always have a special place for it.
Because Penny Reid's a damn queen.
She is.
She's a rock star.
Yes.
So Jenni, who are the Winston children?
We have Billy, who's the oldest, then Jethro, Edith. Ashley's stuck right in the middle. The twins are Dwayne and Bo, and then the baby is Roscoe.
Do you have a favorite brother?
I would probably say, I knew you were going to ask this, so I would probably say Billy, just because like the oldest child, like trying to take care of everybody.
Dumbass.
He is, but like I I sympathize with the like trying to get everything together for everybody else. And
Lindsay, do you have a favorite brother?
Cletus, yeah. He's probably my spirit animal.
I could see that.
I actually do. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Do you have a favorite brother or child?
Okay, so me,
Yeah.
I would, for a long time it was Cletus, but as you read more books, Jethro, there's something about him because honestly, he's like this stay-at-home dad who like is just all in the family and just
He's a busybody.
he is, but he has like the biggest turnaround from who he was to who he is now. And there's something about him, especially like since I read these books and he's still showing up in like Green Valley books. I just love him so much. And the way he is with like the family and the kids. And he's such a good person at this point in his life.
He's a reformed bad boy.
100%.
Sure.
I do like a bad boy. Okay, Lindsay, do you have your show notes open?
Oh, no.
Don't worry about it then. Leah, read the quote from community member Liz.
Okay. Green Valley isn't your typical sleepy small town. Yes, it's cozy, like curling up under a blanket with a good book and a hot cup of coffee or whatever you like, but it's a wonderfully weird, sometimes mysterious, ever evolving, marvelous place. No matter which book you read, diving into Green Valley is like arriving at your quintessential favorite place each and every time. There's something for everyone in the world of Green Valley, Tennessee, and everyone is welcome. You made me read that because of the word quintessential, didn't you?
No, I didn't even read that far in advance. I just was trying to give a different voice. Okay, Jenny, back to you with Green Valley.
Green Valley. So yeah, we just said that like Penny started with the Winston brothers, and then as these books builded, like so did her popularity. And like I think Leah always says, like, don't name a person if you don't want to give them a book. And she names everybody.
Well, if you do any, like, if you stalk Penny Reid at all, or if you talk to anybody who has written in her world, like she has an entire town like created and characters created and stories and families and like a life creation for people that we don't even know about yet.
Okay, so let's talk about the actual physicalities of Green Valley, Tennessee, so that we can set the setting. Okay, where is Green Valley located?
It is near the National, like,
Smoky Mountain National Park.
National Park, yes. Like the Winston, like homestead, like is right up against it. Some of the Smarty Pants books we'll talk about later are set there. It seems to be about like a half an hour from Marysville, which would be like a bigger town, not quite a city, and then like an hour away from Knoxville, Tennessee, which would be their big city.
Does the town itself have any landmarks that we should know about?
There's a lot of important places in Green Valley.
But there isn't like a kissing tree or a pond or
there's a pond.
Statue?
Bandit Lake.
Bandit Lake.
Which one am I thinking of that has the big statue? I don't remember.
We'll get back to that.
We'll come back to statues later.
But yeah, Bandit Lake is an interesting prospect of Green Valley. It's where a lot of people fish. It's kind of the makeout point. Although all our characters are older and still going there, so
yeah, it's kind of exclusive too because it seems to be like some kind of national park property. So if like you don't have a house already there or inherit a house from someone who is already there, like you don't really have access to it. So it's kind of more, it's like a party point of like a park type place with public access, but it's also like very remote.
Well, and aren't the higher end houses on Bandit Lake like very expensive? Like Hank, because Hank lives there, and there's another one of the, I can't remember, somebody else lives on Bandit Lake, but they talk about like how expensive it is to purchase there and hard to get houses there too.
Yeah, because like Lindsay said, you have to inherit it or like know somebody that knows somebody that.
And
so like
drop a mint.
Right. Yes. So anybody in Green Valley knows somebody that lives on Bandit Lake so that they can get access
Mm-hmm.
to Bandit.
Do we know what the population of Green Valley, Tennessee is estimated? Has anybody ever rolled into town and you know how there's always a small town sign that says...
I don't think there's a sign.
There is one.
Which book is it in?
I think it was in Carla's last book.
Oh, let's look. I'll look it up while you guys continue talking.
Okay.
I don't know that number.
What are the feels of the small town itself of Green Valley? So tell us, like, is the town quirky? Is it a sleepy town? Is it a busy town? What is the town like?
I would describe it as like a picturesque, like it's like postcard town, but there's a lot of stuff like going on behind the scenes.
What do you think, Lindsay? What kind of town do you think it is?
So I've actually spent a lot of time in that area of the country, and it reminds me kind of a city called Black Mountain. It's like a little town, and it's very cute, and it's right at the foothills of like a lot of national forest land. And I kind of imagine it like that, where like it's a mixed, like most small towns, there's mixed income. There's like a lot of less well-off people. There are more well-off people who are moving from more affluent areas. And I think you see that with a lot of these books, like people of all economical backgrounds. And then you see too, like there's definitely an aspect of community there where people are willing to help each other out because you're not close to resources. And in that way, I think it's very true to like small town. But then there's also like the darker parts of the small town with the motorcycle club and the crime. And that is also, I think, very indicative of like rural Appalachia, because there's a lot of extreme poverty and crime and drug related trafficking and things like that out there.
Do we get that in these books?
Well, but
like
I would say not as much, but you do get some.
Okay. Climate, weather, and seasons. So for our international listeners, Tennessee itself, it's a moderate, mild climate, right? Like it doesn't get super
cold. For the
cold.
most part.
It's at elevation. So because the Smokies, I don't know if you guys know this, but it's the highest elevation mountains on the East Coast. And when you get mountains at that elevation, it creates its own weather patterns. And then the Smokies in general are very wet. So they get a lot of like rain and snow, but then they get a lot of like summer and humidity and heat. And it can be cold, but it's like not Montana cold where it's negative degrees a lot. It's usually, I would say, more temperate.
Okay. Did you find our population sign?
No, neither. I looked at 2 different books of Carla's and neither one of them had a population sign.
Okay. If you know the answer to the population, and we're talking to you, Brooke and Penny.
Yes.
Please email
Brooke,
us.
if you're listening, we need to know.
We need like a welcome to Green Valley postcard, population of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they got the little there's like a little postcard to go with them.
I want like a keychain that says I've been in Green Valley.
You have not been to Green Valley though.
I have though, because Green Valley is not a real place. It is a figment of Penny Reid's imagination.
So you've
So
been
we've
in her
all
imagination.
So we have all been to
We've
Green
all been
Valley
there.
multiple times.
I think it isn't just a figment of her imagination. A long time ago, she posted about her inspiration for it. And there is actually a small town in the Smokies, and I suspect I found which one it is. So I'll tell you guys when I look at a map, because I spent a lot of time when she did this trying to figure it out and mapping like
Lindsey's going there.
I know this place very well. I
don't discount the fact that she based it off of a real place, because most authors do that.
Lindsey is next level of stalking of Penny Reid. Like,
I
we
know,
thought Jenny.
we don't even have to do it.
Right. Like, I mean, I just tattooed like images on my body.
I'm not like Facebook FBI or anything like that. I'm not like stalking real people. I just like
only
Penny Reid is a real person.
Only fictional
New
people.
Buzzing About Romance sticker. I only stalk people that live in fictional places.
Mike Burger, get on that.
But yeah, I was extreme about it because I was like, I think I know where this might be. And then I looked at like park map boundaries and I was like, I figured it out.
Okay.
You'll have to email her and ask
I figured
her.
it out.
Guys, I wrote it down. I
Not
only
a psycho,
stalk
I
people
promise.
from fictional places, so we don't forget.
Same. Same. Those will be in the next Patreon swag pack. Okay, so before we get into the breakdown and the nitty-gritty of Green Valley and the books that are in this series and some of the spin-offs that have happened from Knitting in the City to the Winston brothers to this whole giant world, why do you love these books? What is it about reading about this fictional place that brings you back every time?
I think it's the diversity. You have so many different like characters, and same characters, like people that have strong personality traits. So it's not like, I mean, like the people at the police station, like you learn like their favorite kind of pie, and I don't even know who's at the police station in my town. Like,
well, and one thing I like about this world is there's a few different authors that write in the world. It's a very niche world to be written in because of the way that Penny Reid runs it. But you see this world from other people's eyes too. Like they have a basis they have to go on. Like there's a lot of rules when it comes to a smarty pants book. But at the same time, like they still use their own view. Like you're seeing Green Valley from the different people of the town, essentially. And that is one thing that I love about this series.
What about you, Lindsey? What keeps taking you back to Green Valley?
This place itself, how well they capture it. I fell in love with outdoors when I was 10 and we went to the Smoky Mountains the first time. It's very sentimental to me, and the nostalgia of that is captured very well. Like it really does justice to how like those towns would be in kind of real life. And it just makes me nostalgic for like really good times from my childhood. But then it also like combines my favorite things about romance, and there's something for everyone in these books. Like it is possible for you to find like whatever you like, there's something in that lane for you. And it's well written, reliably well written. It's just so sentimental.
It's just Penny Reid. I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
It like so many times we just are like, it's just Penny Reid.
But I think that Lindsey has a point though, is like there's such a variety of styles of writing. Because there's closed door, there's open, like there's steamy, there's not so steamy, there's like retellings of like tales, but they still revolve in the Green Valley. Like that is one of the other things about this world, is there's so many options for you, but it's all in one place.
But I think it's also a place, like a lot of people have been there. I think Smoky Mountains is one of the most, every year, it's one of the most visited national parks in the country. And I think a lot of people have a deep level of sentimentality and connection to that
Mhm.
because so many people have experienced at some scale a small town or a town like that.
Yeah.
In the Smokies, because they're all over on the North Carolina side and the Tennessee side. Like you can go anywhere there.
Okay, so let's get into this. If you have never heard of Green Valley, Tennessee, or are interested in checking them out, one of the titles that you have never read. So I've never read anything Green Valley, Tennessee from Penny Reid, but I've also never read anything in the Smarty Pants world. So what we want to do is help the reader know where to start. Um, and then we'll talk about the basics of this series, and then we're going to go into the different titles, and then we're going to talk about the different authors that have come in because Penny Reid, when did she start? Was that 2019 she opened her world? Was the first
I think
grouping?
so.
Let me double check, but yeah, I think so.
So I think, I mean, she obviously did it before, but the first group that came into the Smarty Pants world came, those first group of books, the first launch was like, I think 2019.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like she definitely took a lot of time and effort, like
There's
making
a
it.
lot of planning
Yes,
before this
what it
world.
is.
Now,
Fall sampler 2019.
yeah. So I will also say that in our on the shelf show notes, we will have this breakdown for you so that you can easily access and find these titles. Um, okay. So I've never read anything Penny Reid or Green Valley, Tennessee. If I'm starting with Penny Reid, where do I start?
I would start at the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
like with Beauty and the Mustache. I think that's a good
Can it be read as a
transition.
standalone, or do I need to start at the beginning of Knitting in the City?
I think it can be read as a standalone. Obviously, you
It
will like
can because I have actually never read the rest of the Knitting in the City series, and I was okay with that. I
I'm
machete the
not okay. I am
series.
not okay with that.
No, I know that you're not, but I'm saying
Community
like
service people.
I machete that series by only reading that one. And I did not read that one before I read the brothers also.
And
So
I also feel like that book gives like Leah alluded to earlier, gives some background on the
mhm.
Winston family that's kind of fundamental to know like the rest of their family history. You don't need to know it for everything, but it
You
definitely
don't.
enhances the story.
It does, but you don't have to read it before you start the brothers.
Right.
Because again, I didn't do it in order. You should be proud of me, Rebecca.
I'm very proud of you. So the Winston brothers, siblings, children appear in how many Penny Reid different series?
They have like as main characters.
Well, just that I would have to read to understand. Like, are they, other than Knitting in the City and Beauty and the Mustache, can I just read the Winston brothers?
Yes.
Are there other books that have Winstons as main characters that I would have to read?
Yes. You don't
No.
have to read them. There's this spin-off series, which I'm sure Lindsay is a big fan of, with Cletus being her spirit animal.
Yeah, the cozy mysteries. That's so good.
Okay, so there really is something for everyone within this world because now you're
Mhm.
saying there is Knitting in the City, and then you've got Small Town when we go to the Winston Brothers, but then there's these handcrafted mysteries that are cozy mysteries.
Yeah, they get a little intense. The illegal activity we were talking about earlier. Yeah, that's when this would come in.
Okay.
It does show up in those ones.
Yeah.
Okay.
Quite intensely.
And what about the
And
Good Folk series?
you can actually start there. Like if you wanted to, if you want to just jump right into good folk, it is Jackson James, who is the sister of Jessica James, who is Dwayne's heroine, who is book one of the Winston brothers. You do not need to read her book because Jackson is an entity of his own.
Yes, and they keep from like spoiling anything like important, like twist and her
timelines
book.
And baby mass are very important in the Penny Reid world.
Yes, like she is definitely again on top of that and planning. Because there's like between book 6 and 7 of the Winston brothers, there's a huge time jump, and a lot of people miss that or very confused. And that's kind of where like those cozy mysteries and other things kind of fit in.
Yeah. How upset would you be to know that I read this series completely out of order and backwards?
I think that's fine. I personally think
I pick and choose.
To get as much as you possibly can out of it, I would actually recommend reading the Winston brothers first to last, starting with Ashley and then going in order, just because there is an overarching plot and there are so many things in those books that allude to things that come so much later. There's so much foreshadowing. She's the queen. Like, this is like Marvel level universe with all the Easter eggs.
There is a lot of Easter eggs. A lot.
Yes.
And honestly, and you don't realize
Smarty Pants are MCU in romance?
I would say yes.
Because Cletus, like, one of the things I love about Cletus is like there are allusions to him where he's not specifically called out in other books.
But it's totally
But you know it's Cletus if you've read
it. And he has close contacts with
Alex,
people in Chicago that can do things.
Yeah, they communicate through the newspaper to each other.
In the classifieds.
Yeah.
Which is alluded to in Smarty Pants books.
Yes.
Because the one, okay.
But that's what I'm saying. Like she has this elaborate scheme of chaos when it comes to Green Valley, Tennessee. And I don't know for sure, but I can only assume that she has the thickest story Bible in the world.
Penny Reid is the Stan Lee of romance, is what you're telling me right now.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable with that. Yeah.
And I would say that too, because all of her books, every single one that I've read and everything I've read in either, Smarty Pants or Green Valley verticals of the Smarty Pants brand, like everything stands on its own. Yeah. In addition to being interconnected. So there are a lot of Easter eggs, but you're not gonna read any of these books and feel dissatisfied at the end. They all have a strong HEA. They all have a really strong plot. They're very well written.
Now,
but honestly, that goes to show like just how important this world is to this woman, because she there's a lot to it. And that's the thing, like there's so much connection from every series and every book, but you can just randomly pick a book and be 100% like, okay.
So Jenny did a bunch of research and gave us a reading order. Is it okay if we just put that in our on the shelf show notes, or do you want to go through that now?
No, that's totally fine. Because I think we covered most of it.
Okay.
It's a lot of books.
It's a lot of books.
Okay.
Well, because like when we started prepping for this, like Becky started a spreadsheet and was like gonna have like all the cameos, and like I'm like, oh my gosh, this would take me like 2 years.
Yeah.
Like
we'd have to have one of those like giant whiteboards with the circles and the strings.
Like we're gonna have
the
whole
strings
wall.
And the tacks. It'd be like a murder board, but not a murder board.
Oh my God. It could go with our fictional stocking.
That's true.
Okay, we now need a murder board of Smarty Pants. Okay.
I bet Penny Reid has one.
She probably does. Okay. So we've talked Green Valley and the start with Beauty and the Mustache and into the Winston brothers and all of that chaos. And we have touched briefly on this Smarty Pants romance world. So, what is Smarty Pants and how does it work?
So,
Do you want me to read this?
You can, yeah,
Do you
go
want me to
ahead.
read this?
Like,
So this is
sure.
direct from the Smarty Pants website. Smarty Pants Romance is a collaborative universe whose mission is 1, to be self-sustaining, 2, to be value added to, subheadings of the authors and professionals, support personnel who are published by, within, and work for Smarty Pants Romance universe, B, the Penny Reid brand, and C, the romance community world at large. Number 3, to set an example of best practices, inclusion, representation, professionalism, mentorship, craft, and excellence. And number 4, to be drama-free and efficient. So that is what the Smarty Pants Romance collaborative label is about. That is their mission statement. That is what Penny Reid has created. And I have to say, she's done a pretty freaking amazing job in this.
She really has.
Now, she does have other worlds that she has spun off of. There is the out of universe. There's education. Like, what are her, like, there's sub-labels too.
Right.
Well, but there's sub-labels, but they're still part of like the Green Valley.
Yeah. And
It's all the umbrella,
other-
like it's Green Valley, and then it like umbrellas out from
No,
there.
I'm talking
But
about the
there's
other ones.
Smarty Pants, there's the ones that tie into Knitting in the City too.
Oh,
So
that's
you
true.
can either
Like the
branch
cipher.
off. Yeah, so
Right.
there's like one that not just Knitting in the City, because there's one I think where the girl works at Sandeki Telecom.
Yes.
Yeah, there's
And it spins off of her
seduction
other
in the
series,
city,
too.
and then there's educated romance, which is where like those.
But that's from like her other series like ties into.
Yeah, they're all connected though, like all of them. 'Cause
Again, we need a murder board.
For the purpose of this episode, we are only concentrating on the Smarty Pants Green Valley sub-series and authors.
So, there is Green Valley Library. That is a interconnected series, meaning multiple authors right under that series.
Mhm.
There is the Donner Bakery series. Initially, Carla Sorensen, Jiffy Kate, and Ellie Kay were writing under that series together. Ellie Kay is the only one, No Risk, No Reward is the only one left in the Donner Baker series because Jiffy Kate broke out to Fighting for Love, which is the MMA series.
The
And then
Vikings.
Carla Sorensen has the Love at First Sight, which is where they're cursed. They fall in love at first sight. There is the
Unless they're a
Scorn
girl.
Women's Society, which is the ex-lovers of Jethro. I love that. You get to see the other side.
But the
The
Scorn
Scorn
Women's
Women's
are
Society-
also
Broadway show
musical
retellings.
yeah.
I love them.
I did not know that,
I love
but
them.
that's awesome.
My Fair
There's the
Lady
park-
is a My Fair Lady retelling.
They're all play on words with the titles too.
So Scorn Women, that's all Piper Sheldon. Park Ranger is all Daisy Prescott. That's about like rangers in the park.
That's where
Um,
Drew works.
Mm-hmm. Chelsea Edwards, she has a standalone under the Higher Learning series. That's Upsy Daisy, Daisy of Daisy's Nut House
Mhm.
Yes.
story. And then the Leffersby series is Hope Ellis. There's 2 books there. I think that one actually takes place like just outside of Green Valley, but it still ties back in.
They're still in Green Valley. They commute.
And then Chris Brinkley, he's the narrator. He does a lot of narration.
I think he
for
does
the
all of
book.
the narrations, doesn't
I
he?
think
so.
Wait,
He
I
does
think
most.
I think he
He does
does
most- he does
Penny.
I don't think he
90%
does
of.
all of them, but he does most.
Okay.
He has 2 novellas that he did. I don't know if they're the story of us. I don't know if they're called anything else. And then the newest vertical in Green Valley is Green Valley Heroes. That's a shared series, and Kilby Blades and Juliet Cross have been writing under that one. That's my personal favorite.
Kilby Blade's book is my personal favorite.
Both of those books are my
Mhm.
favorite in the whole Green
Go ahead, say
Valley
it, Leah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was like, she's like biting her tongue.
It's where the sex nachos go.
It is. Okay,
So
so
but honestly, like that in that there though, she has a diverse group of authors writing for her too, which I really love.
Yeah,
so
there's
it's
15 different authors plus
okay,
Penny Reid
and
right now,
10
just
sub-series.
contributing to Green Valley. That doesn't count the others just contributing to Green Valley.
So it's
I like
10
that.
sub-series and 15 different authors, 16 if you count Jiffy Kate as two.
They're one
They're two
author, two
yes.
people, but one author.
They're both authors, though.
This is true. But they wouldn't care if we counted them as one.
I mean, they are kind of the same. Um,
And they do give a like preference or like try to strive to have an own voice element to the stories. And I think they do it in a really good way where it's not like smacks you in the face.
yeah.
Um
Well, in reading Kilby Blade's book, which is Forest for the Trees, I didn't know anything about the author. Really, that cover just sold me because it's adorable. And as we were reading that book, the heroine is a BIPOC heroine. And that made me go look and see, like, who is this author? And find out that she's a BIPOC author herself. And the way that she writes and the way she describes some of the things that happen to Sienna in that, or Sierra in that book, it was just really topical and it was just really good. And I really enjoyed that book. Anyway, okay. We'll get to what our favorite book in the whole Smarty Pants universe is for the ones that have read them. So think about that.
I don't think I have an all-time favorite.
You'll have to get over it. Find one. Okay. Who are the important places and people to know in Green Valley, Tennessee? What do I need to know?
Daisy and her donuts.
Oh,
Everybody
yeah.
loves them.
I want a Daisy Nut House.
Yeah, these people like their baked goods. Like that is an important part
Banana
of
cake.
pretty much every
True.
story.
Well, in Temperance from Fighting for Love, it's book one, like she bakes muffins with names of like Johnny Cash songs. I don't think it's just Johnny Cash songs.
No, it's just like older,
like
yeah,
old timey like country songs. But
yeah, because she was originally like in the Donner Bakery series, which Donner Bakery is a place you need to know. The banana cake queen, which is Jen, married
from
to
Cletus's book, Beard
Yes.
Science. And her mom has a book too. She's delightful.
Yes, we didn't even talk about her.
We haven't talked about her mom, and that's so good. She ends up with a bad boy.
Okay.
Oh, the library series is actually kind of kicked off in the initial book. So in Ashley's book, when Ashley is back in Green Valley with her mom, like her mom worked at the library. So Green Valley Library is one of the core places. And
and books were like a big part of their lives. Like the Winstons, I mean, hence the fact they all have like the classics as middle names.
Yes, their names.
the community center too. Their jam
where they
session.
have the jam sessions. Yeah.
And don't be the like last person to eat the coleslaw. Like, don't take the last serving.
Why?
The outrage.
Okay. I love that the town has a Piggly Wiggly. That's such a southern thing.
They have those out there.
I know they do. Where my mom grew up, it's the IGA or the Piggly Wiggly. You had to pick one.
Right.
And everybody went to the Piggly Wiggly because that's where all the best gossip happens.
Yeah, there's often like an awful lot happening at the Piggly Wiggly.
It's a good place to be.
Yeah.
What is the Pink Pony?
It's a strip club.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a strip club. Hank Weller owns the Pink Pony.
His book just released.
He did. Hank is a very well off person, and he basically owns the Pink Pony.
He doesn't run the Pink Pony, does he? Because
yeah, he is a manager, but he pretty much runs it. Like he works out of it.
What's this? Is that the strip club that's in the My Bear Lady that she works at?
That's the G Spot.
That's the G
That's
spot.
the not nice strip club.
Right. Because that guy's kind of douchey.
Which
Well, Hank is kind of douchey too at first,
yeah.
but it's not
I mean,
the G spot douchey though.
I mean, he owns a strip club. Like, there's some level.
I mean, come on.
But he does
there.
it too. He does it because like it's his way of like acting out in his rebellion.
I mean,
Yeah,
have
'cause
you
a
ever
Harvard
known
dropout.
like a non-swarmy strip club owner?
I don't know. Maybe if
I
it's a
don't think
classy
I know
place.
any.
Cinnamon roll strip club hero.
Hank is kind of a cinnamon roll though.
Yes,
He's more of
yeah.
a beta hero. Like, no joke.
Really?
Yes.
Feels like it's
One
an
hun-
oxymoron.
Honestly, it kind of is. But no, Hank, would you agree, Lindsay, that Hank Weller is a cinnamon roll?
I haven't read that one yet.
Have we done a quick shot on that?
No.
We should.
No, we should.
Okay. All right.
We've
think
done
we
a lot
talked
of quick
about it.
shots.
I think we've talked about it, and then quick shots kind of blew up, and we never went back to it.
We
But we
can go
should do
back to
that.
it.
Let me write that down.
What's the Dragon Biker Bar?
That's where the Iron Wraths like congregate, do their business. It's also like it's one of those bars that has the little like motel strip attached to it, if that tells you anything.
Oh,
It's a pay by the hour hotel strip.
Well, some people have rooms they live out of there too.
The Iron Wraiths are like they're a 1%er gang. But so there you go. There's your bad seed of the town.
okay.
And they come into play a lot, not at the very beginning of the Winston brothers, but like
They come
as
into play
Lindsay
in
was-
that My Bear lady that I
Mhm.
read. They were in that book.
yeah, as
so they're
Lindsay was
more-
talking, like they get like the foreshadowing gets
There's
more
little
incorporated, and then it becomes a bigger.
There's
Yeah.
snippets, and they're kind of prevalent in Jethro's book because of his history with them, but then they kind of are just in the background for a lot of the rest of it. But then
Yeah, and then you also have to think about like the timeline, right? Because like the timeline of a lot of the Green Valley books is in that gap of the Winston brothers book.
Mhm.
So like earlier, and like some of these books that are in that gap, and then some of them are after. So you kind of see like the evolution of the Iron Wraiths story. It's more involved at the beginning of the Green Valley spin-offs under Smarty Pants romance, and it gets less the further down those timelines the books go.
Okay.
But I think when we get Isaac's book, like it's going to be front and center.
Yeah, things are gonna come. Yeah,
And maybe Diane and Repo will be back.
Okay.
I don't know.
On to the next thing. Jeannie's Country Western Bar. Are they line dancing here? This is the place with French fries. I read this in Nora Everly's first book, right? They pick up fried chicken from there, right? The country bar?
it's. I
Maybe.
mean, it's like the hangout place when it's not a Friday night.
Okay.
Like the jam sessions are going on.
And you don't want to go to the Pink Pony or the
Right.
cheese spot.
Yes, it's the more family friendly, but I still would not take your children option.
Mhm.
So we talked about
What a-
community. Oh, go ahead, Lindsay.
One of my favorite scenes takes place at Janie's Country Western Bar, and it is the meet cute in Stud Muffin. When Tempest meets Cage, she is at the bar, totally wasted, and I think she climbs up on the bar and he carries her out.
Mhm.
So fun.
I love that scene.
And also like Jeannie's daughter Patty is like running the bar, and she is super smart.
Yeah.
Okay. Super smart. So we
Does she
talked.
have a book?
No, she was going to have a book in the folk series, and she is no longer having a book.
That's right. Maybe in the future.
Okay. Community organizations. We talked about the Iron Wraths and we talked about the jam sessions, but we have not yet talked about my favorite community organization in all of Green Valley, Tennessee. And that is the Morel Support Group, who are the little old ladies that are the mushroom hunters. And I think they take mushrooms.
Definitely
They
do.
buy them from the
Those
college
are a
boys.
thing. I did not know this. I was hiking recently and somebody was literally carrying like a skull-sized mushroom down the mountain. Like it was like a good foot tall. It was huge. And people do this apparently. There's like little clubs. They're really like lots of these little clubs that go mushroom hunting. I had no idea. But also, I think is it porcini mushrooms that grow in that area? They're like very expensive to get, but they grow in the Smokies because it's wet and it's shady because it's trees. So it's really
Those,
cool.
in our area, it's morel mushrooms that you can only get, and the season is like super short and it's in the spring. You have to get them like at a certain. Anyway. Okay, now is your favorite part, you guys. 2 to 3. No more. No less. 2 to 3. I need to know your top books in this world. No, Lindsey. 2 to 3.
4.
Just give her 4.
Give her 4. Okay. Do you want to do them in a group or you want to go around?
Just do them in a group because I have to think about it.
Okay. Lindsey, give us your 4 because she knows.
Forest for the Trees, Parks and Provocation, Eye Candy, and Stud Muffin.
Oh, son of a bitch. I love those ones. I'm going to pick different
Don't
ones.
you?
now.
It's not like you can't pick the same one.
I know, but I feel like I need to have different ones.
No, you don't.
I don't think
Sorry.
you do because
I
I haven't
ruined it
read
for
that many,
everyone.
so. Okay, your turn, Jenny.
So I tried to be strategic and like take like a OG and then like a smarty pants. So like probably beard necessities, just because you finally get to see like all the foreshadowing and
The culmination
nuggets.
of
Yes, it
yes.
finally comes together and you're
They
like,
finally
yeah, finally come together.
finally.
And then I feel like this doesn't get talked about as much, but the Leafers Bees series in Smarty Pants, the second book, it was probably my favorite, Before and After You. And that's a sibling's best friend, close proximity book, and she is the child life specialist at a hospital in Knoxville. And then he is a banker because that's what the Leafers Bees do, is they're the bank in Green Valley.
Okay. Leah,
Okay.
who are your books?
So, Parks and Provocation, Baking Me Crazy, which is book 1 in the Love at First Sight, and then Stud Muffin because it introduced me to the Vikings.
Okay, so I have not read as many as everybody else has. Like I've read here and there. So I have read Eye Candy. I have read Forest Through the Trees. I have read book 1 from Nora Everly, which is the one of her brothers.
Crime and Periodicals was up.
Crime and Periodicals on that one. And I read book 1, My Bear Lady by Piper Sheldon. Prose Before Bros by Kathy Yardley is on my TBR, and Do We Belong Together by Anne Why Not, because I'm obsessed with the puns.
That has a great mental health rep in it.
Excellent. So those are 2 that I did not get to. Because, mafia. But I will say I have loved everything that I have picked up in this. And I have obviously read out of order and around and not, because I like to machete. So that is our introduction to Green Valley, Tennessee, for those that have never read it or are curious about the world. If you have questions about Green Valley, Tennessee,
Email Jenny.
Please slide into Jenni and Lindsey's DMs. Do not ask Becky and Leah. We know
I
nothing.
mean, you can ask us. We will just ask Jenni and Lindsey because the chances of us being able to answer the question are slim.
Yeah.
I might be able to answer it easier than Becky because I have actually been in this world a decent amount, but not nearly as amount as Jenni and Lindsey.
No. So those are our
It is a
authority.
delightful place to be, though.
It is delightful. Okay. It is now time.
It's that time for book
Book
of
of
the
week. It's book of the week time. Jenny, what's your book of the week?
The Game by Vi Keelan.
It's on the-
And can I just say, like, stay tuned for a quick shot?
Yeah.
Yes, you may.
Yeah. Coming soon. Lindsey, what's your book of the week?
I read Damaged by Riley Edwards and I really loved it.
Oh, it's so good, isn't it?
Good.
What did you really? I'm so happy that you liked it.
I already have books 2 and 3 downloaded on my Kindle, so I'm busy.
They just
I've
keep
read
getting
so many
better.
books this week.
They just keep getting better. I'm so happy that you liked it.
Lindsey, you just made Leah's like whole month.
I did because it's one of those
put something
things.
about it on the Instagram, and I was like, "Oh, I had this downloaded," and I like picked it up and I read it.
Well, because the audio is coming out soon, but it's one of those things where I love her books, and I'm always afraid that like somebody new like reads them that like in our community, and I'm like, what if they don't like them? And then I feel
it's
bad.
like somebody telling you your baby's ugly.
Your baby is ugly. I'll say it.
I mean, the
Right.
uncles.
I think it's worse.
Occasionally it
I think it's
happens,
worse
like-
than somebody telling me my baby is ugly.
I will say, I'm glad you like it because Riley Edwards is such a nice human and has
I
always
love her
been
so
super
much.
supportive of our podcast. So
Mhm.
I'm glad you enjoyed
I'll let
that.
her know. What was your book of the week?
Okay, so I had a break of basically 3 days where I'm allowed to read what I want before I have to go back to my assigned TBR. And of course, I went into the mafia world because
We've been stuck there for a while.
I blame Heather. I can trace this straight back to Heather and her year-end book recs. She
Yes.
recommended
because she
Callum.
recommended Callum, and then you read that, and it went downhill from there.
It just went
or
downhill.
uphill. It depends on how you want to.
I can't get out. Like, I need all of this darkness. I need kidnapping. I need possessive, crazy alpha heroes. I need it all. Like, I want the men to die if they touch her. Like, I want that.
And some of them too.
A lot
And
of
some
them
of them too.
The mafia and dark romance has a very nice vibe for winter.
It does. It gives me lots of
Yes.
warm and cozy feelings.
Yes.
I mean, we're stuck
agree.
inside.
I mean, I'm
Let's
just
let's
begging to-
embrace the dark of winter. Although
Yeah,
you're in New
get the
Mexico,
rage
you don't
out.
have a lot of dark of winter where you're at.
We don't have dark of winter, but we just have cold and windy.
It's so dumb.
It's dumb.
So, I made everybody go through like all these.
Wait, I didn't
bonkers
say mine
books.
yet.
I haven't even given my title
Oh, that's
yet.
true. You didn't.
I'm still trying to give you my title because we're all busy trying to get kidnapped.
I mean, I would not be sad if some of these heroes kidnapped
But-
me.
I was gonna I have found some great new authors and series, and you are going to
Mhm.
see an increased amount of quick shots that are mafia. Or if you're over in Discord, then you know I made everybody read Alexius by Bella J, because that book was bonkers, but it was 3 books of delightful rage reading. It's so bonkers. Anyway, but my book of the week is Ruined Secrets by Nevea Alta.
It's
What is it?
we don't know how to pronounce it. I think it's just Neva. Neva. I think it's
Neva.
Neva Alta.
Neva Alta. I did look up the pronunciation of the last name.
It's such a good book.
Yeah, she is the granddaughter of the Don of the Costa Nostra in Chicago, and he is handpicked to marry her and take on the role of the Don, and he's a single dad. I really need his brother's book. I'm just Because he's such a playboy.
Oh, yeah.
He's having
We
affairs
think
with
he's
everybody.
getting one. Oh, yeah. He's like jumping out of windows naked and getting shot at because he's
Yes.
getting caught.
He's
Oh, yeah.
it's still this.
Well, and like his one right hand. Oh, no,
No, that's the next book.
that's the next book.
So
Sorry.
in this one, he okay, it's amnesia trope. There's the
Well,
before
but also,
and
but
the
it
after.
opens. I know I'm talking over you, but it opens and he is like he is married and his wife is giving the bodyguard a blowjob and he shoots the bodyguard mid blowjob
Yeah.
and then is like, and throws her out half naked and is like, I want a divorce. And that's that.
Anyway, it's
That's
delightful.
how it opens.
I have been reading this whole series by Neva and I am obsessed with it. I love it. I have
It is very
really
good.
enjoyed everything I've read by her. They are quick, they are well edited. And anyway,
Well, and we keep coming back.
and we keep coming back. Okay, Leah, what is your book of the week?
Okay, so Becky, I am complaining about this on like every episode, just so we know. So Becky has been trying to get me to read The Perfect Gentleman series by Shayla Black and Lexi Blake. I like both of these authors, but it is a 5-book series. It's a long book. Okay. So she gets this harebrained scheme that we're going to read all 5 books and do a quick shot on each of them, which is fine.
Individually, each book individually will have its own quick shot.
Yes. But in her infinite wisdom, I'm only allowed to read 1 book per week.
So basically, we cannot read we can read book 1, record the episode, and then we read
And
book
then
2.
I'm allowed to read book 2.
Yes, you cannot have that knowledge before
Right.
you impart the
Right.
knowledge on
But
us.
have you met me? Do you realize how hard it
Yes.
is for me to not read book 2 after I finished book 1?
Does Becky have to know that you followed the rules?
Yeah, I'll know.
She
She'll
does.
know.
She'll
I'll
know.
know.
Because the way the story plays out, as soon as I find
There's a
something,
cliffhanger.
I will
Yeah.
tell. There's like cliffies. It's an overarching storyline. Like there is no way she would not
And
know if I
if you
read
like
ahead.
the TV show Scandal that was on ABC a couple years ago, that's that political over-the-top intrigue with spies and bonkers stuff, but wants
This is
sexiness
Scandal
in a
book
romance,
form.
this is this series. These
So
books.
book 1 is my book of the week. It's Scandal Never Sleeps. It's so good. I'm like really mad at Becky because I have to follow the rules. And I keep like, and if you are listening, when you listen to the quick shots, I'm prefacing this now. We are spoiling these books. So if you do not want to know what happens,
You need to read
don't
along with us.
Read along.
Well, so I do
Yeah.
have a programming note. For quick shot listeners, Lee and I are reading The Perfect Gentleman series by Shayla Black and Lexi Blake. The first episode drops 2/14. This is a 5-book series with an overarching plot. They are romantic suspense. A new episode will drop about every 10 days so that we get through all 5 books. We are reading these without binging them. They will have spoilers in those episodes, but if you'd like to read along and follow along with our chaos, you will want to pick up what is book 1?
Scandal Never
Sleeps, and read along with us. They are available in library, so
Yes, we're reading from Becky's library, so you can get them in the library. They might have been in mine too, but I don't remember. But yeah, so I'm a little bit salty because I have to wait, but I'm in the middle of book 2 right now, and he's a little bit crazy, and I love it.
he's a lot crazy. He's intense.
He's intense and a little bit crazy.
And there's like sexcapades for the weekend. Like there's so much sexcapades in these books.
Oh, they haven't had sex yet in book 2 yet.
Not yet. Book 1,
it's
like
coming, though.
15%. It's a whole weekend of sexcapades.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
but it's delightful.
Which is my new favorite word now.
So we do have a Patreon update. We appreciate our Patreon supporters, and we would not be able to bring the podcast and our craziness without you. So we currently have 4 open tiers on Patreon. We have one that starts at $5 a month and includes membership to Drunk Book Club and exclusive content. And they tier up from there. The higher you go, the more that you get. We reach our goal of 40 Patreon members And our next goal is 60 members. And we are going to do an amazing giveaway that was donated by one of our favorite authors. So we will be putting that out into the world soon. And we are able to bring you all 3 episodes a week due to our amazing Patreon community. We have perks like Coffee of the Month Club, exclusive episodes over on our Patreon, and Drunk Book Club. Our big goal is 500 members. But
500 members, and then we can be employed. Drunk Book Club is February 18th. We have a daytime Drunk Book Club for February. We are day drinking at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we are reading Ripple Effect by Jay Banktingson. I don't know.
We're going to have to ask her how she pronounces her name.
Yep. Also,
because she will be joining us.
She'll be joining us. And this is the book, if you listen to our audio narrator episode, this is the book that Teddy Hamilton said is the only book that has ever given him a book hangover that he narrated. So,
yeah. And he gave us the specific chapter too. So.
Yeah. Our annual Galentine's Day celebration is February 11th. We just updated our merch shop with a cool Galentine's Day design, and we are going to make signature drinks and paint a watercolor bookshelf together. This is open to any of our podcast community members, listeners. You do not have to be a member of Patreon. You can find details on our website at bookcaseandcoffee.com. And then, okay, you can do the next one.
And we are currently seeking nominations for the best small town of Romancelandia. Nominations are open on our website until February 1st, and voting will start on February 6th. If you love a small town, but you can't think of the small town, just write the book title and the author title in both lines, and then Becky and I can figure out the small town name from there. Because we've had a couple of people say they can't think of the name, but if you know the book, give us that information.
Yep. And you can find a list of all of our upcoming dates, including book club, happy hours, plot a book, and reading challenge at bookcaseandcoffee.com/events. Jenni and Lindsey, thank you so much for sharing your love of Green Valley, Tennessee with us. And also for, your stalking nature of Penny Reid.
They take it to another level.
I mean, I love them.
They call it super fan.
Is it super fan?
Yeah, that sounds much better.
Much better.
Yeah.
Is it though? Because if you watch that movie, she's kind of crazy.
Not me?
The movie?
I mean, I'm dating myself. Yes.
Anyway.
The movie.
Until next time, everyone.
Happy reading, everybody.
Find us on Instagram at Buzzing About Romance or on Twitter at Buzzing Romance. If you like the podcast, please leave a review. If you'd like to support us directly, join the Bookcase and Coffee Patreon and receive exclusive content only available to Patreon members. Check out bookcaseandcoffee.com for our on-the-shelf show notes.